Good. Have
Hello,
you got...
Alan.
I was going to say, what time is it now? 4:35, and I was about to say, have you got a thing on? Well,
Oh,
normally
yeah,
you
have
would.
you? Well, I mean, nice to see you. And I think we're pretty lucky given we could be doing this any time of the day or night and we'd still be in the same place.
I know.
How's isolation going for you? I mean, you look well, aside from the obvious is that you're wearing a fez and a poncho, which we'll get to.
Well, look, there are a couple of things I need to explain. Firstly, I'll show you why I'm wearing the fez. Because...
Oh, I love that, Alan. That's good. Big hair. As Dolly Parton said, the higher the hair, the closer to God.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I'm loving the hairstyle.
I'm touching God's balls at the moment. It's so high. So my forever girlfriend got it for me in Los Angeles off this gentleman. But also, you can probably see behind me there's like a stripy towel. It's covering a window. So there's a door there that is glass.
Yeah.
So this is the home office. And a lot of like Zoom teleconferences happen. And they started about 9:00. And depending on how everything's gone with me putting the laundry on and getting my daughter out of bed, and of course we started homeschooling, I have, let's say as an example, wandered past that window door wearing very little clothing. While, I'm not joking, while there are like 50 people on a Zoom and the camera is pointing directly through that window.
You've been flashing.
I mean, look, it wasn't full.
Just a side, just a side view. Like, what do you call that? Just a hint of.
So yeah, I did have some clothes on, but there's a point after which you might as well have no clothes on when you're an older man. Like, when you're younger and you've just got your undies on, it's like, oh, at least they've got undies on. But after a certain age, even if you've got undies on, you might as well just be nude, because there is a lot, I don't know what it is, but it's just, and also the last thing you need to see when you're trying to have a serious meeting with lots of people about how the entertainment industry is falling to bits is the incredibly hairy back of your partner who's just wearing his gruts and is going into the kitchen in his underwear. I mean, the thing is, it's a contagious disease going around. I'm in the kitchen in my knickers.
You should be allowed to be in the kitchen in your knickers. I reckon this is a small period when you can quite happily, and look, I'm not advocating it in any other public space in the privacy of your own home. If that's how you want to roll, Alan, I feel like it's okay and people have to accept that. Just like a hint of nudity that gives everyone a little bit of afternoon delight in the middle of a Zoom meeting. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Let's be honest, take what we can get these days.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the fact that you described any part of me as an afternoon delight is lovely. But it was unfortunately the morning, and I don't believe it was delightful. And I think it wrecked the flow of the meeting that was quite serious. When what it basically looked like, because we live near the zoo, I think they thought something had escaped and had entered the house.
It's like Tiger King. Have you seen that documentary? It's like all the animals have escaped to your house.
Yeah. Basically, there was an actual silverback situation going on, but without any of the primal power that they bring to the thing.
Do not underestimate yourself, Alan Bro, please. Do not. Do not. Now, I'm loving this poncho you've got going on as well. What's that all about?
Well, it's actually my daughter's, and my mother-in-law knitted it. It's got pom-poms. And pom-poms! Yeah, wait a minute, so it's sort of, I think it's got a sort of South American vibe to it, but it's sort of South America via a nana's house.
what would you call this stage of your isolation, Alan, now that I see you in a fez and a poncho and you are homeschooling and occasionally flashing public meetings? What do you call this? What can we call this stage of isolation where we're all at the moment? Like, I think I was cool a couple of weeks ago. I'd settled in and I'd been at one with it and I was doing lots of things and being really busy. And now at this stage, I'm like, I don't know what this is anymore. I don't know who I am, but I'm into it. I'm coping all right.
And I'm just trying to express different aspects of my personality. But look, the poncho is basically what I think it's like is in 1982, and a family took in a student from Peru, and this is the thing that she left there, and they've just found it.
Oh,
and they've gone, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, no, I'm into it. I'm really, and yeah, I'm totally into it.
I think you should be. Yeah. It's a beautiful look for you. How is the homeschooling though? See, I don't have those issues. I've got 2 cats and I've got Daniel. He wanders around. But like homeschooling, you're an actual teacher now. What does that feel like?
Well, it's interesting you should ask what it feels like, Miff, because it feels like being nude in front of a zoo, because there is this bit emotionally nude, because you think, well, this can't be too hard. And the school that my daughter goes to is really, really well prepared. And it's the information they have given and the work stuff and the timetables. We've got timetables up on the wall. We've the whole house is now a home office. Like you can barely move for desks and people. Yeah, I know you can move. Be quiet. It's not about you. Excuse me. I'm just closing the door.
Father's daughter loves to make her presence felt. I love that.
Yeah. See, and this is one of the problems. Like we're spending way, way too much time together.
Yeah.
And we're either going to become inseparable, or they're going to have to relax the strangling laws. Because I'm not a lawyer and I don't know what the definition, I've got an idea of what the definition of strangling is. We're going to have to, it's going to have to be malleable, I think.
But look, close there. I don't know how you're doing it. I'm actually quite amazed. Anyone who's got kids and who's parenting at the moment, I what do you call it? Doff my fez to you.
Well, yeah, look, and I've only got one. There are lots of people. There are people with teenagers, and can you imagine doing year 12 and all of a sudden, like, there's so much pressure on a lot of year 12 kids because, they want to get a clarinet scholarship. I don't know what people do anymore. Yeah. And there's so much pressure and they have to stay at home with their parents who are putting all the pressure on them.
I know. I couldn't imagine anything worse on both sides, from the parents or from the students. No way. No way.
It's not right. But look, we're going to get better at it. I've always had a great respect for teachers, but now I know why they have to go to school for such a long time to learn how to be teachers. Because I think a lot of it, I imagine there must be like 2 or 3 hours every day where they're just locked in a room with screaming coming through speakers and just like lights flashing and things being thrown at them. And they have to do that every day, 5 days a week, and then they do some maths. Because it appears that that's the main thing that's going on. And what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, what have I been doing? Well, I go through phases. I'm feeling enthusiastic and inspired, and I've got lots on, and I've been, helping people out, doing some little things here and there. And then I've just gone, what is this? What is this never-ending bit of space that we face? So I've been trying to go out and do exercise, a bit of huffy puffy. I do a bit of yoga, via the television. I've got an app for that these days. So it's pretty hilarious, me learning all these poses and just watching a very fit, very taut guy who's like standing on his hands and resting his legs on his elbows. And it's just me standing back going, you are kidding me. I can't do that. That is ridiculous. So I figure that's what's going to be the next couple of months for me. It'll just be me yelling at the telly, I think, and just trying to stay sane and trying to keep my mind occupied. That's the hardest. Yeah.
I've got to say that's one of the good things about having to learn to do homeschooling is because it's really keeping me occupied.
Yeah.
Like I have to relearn all this stuff, and you know, there was. I remember when I was younger, my parents just going, I just don't get maths. And I thought, how can maths change so much? Well, it does.
Does it? Tell me about maths, because this is I would be mortified. If any child came to me, even I think of it like a grade 5 level, came to me with a maths problem, I would not know what to do anymore. I did business maths at high school, which is essentially the maths for people that can't do maths. And I got out of doing maths at a higher level because I did music and it was a really small school. So that was my excuse. But as I've learned as an adult, maths has got an awful lot to do with music. They're very intertwined. So I regret that I don't have any maths knowledge at all. I'd be useless. Absolutely useless.
Supposedly the fees is not good. It's not sitting right, but that's all right. I'm getting used to it. There's obviously a skill to it. But for instance, Bach, a lot of people say that Bach is amazing for making kids smart. I mean, Bach was played in my house all the time and I'm thick as pig shit. So I don't know what's going on with Bach. But here's today's problem, right? So 24 children are planning a camp. All right. So there's the first problem. No adults seem to be in charge of the planning. So the whole thing is going to turn into some sort of Lord of the Flies situation.
Straight away, guaranteed.
Their tents can fit 3 people each. Right. So got to work out. So that's 8 tents with 3 people in. Right.
Yep.
8 threes.
I'm scared already. Can I write it down?
Yeah. Oh, look, we ran out of butcher's paper. Like, I feel sorry for butchers. We're using all their paper to write on to work this thing out. So 24 children are planning a camp. So already it's going to be a disaster. There's 3 in each tent. Now, they don't tell us whether it's mixed or not. So I'm concerned about it and what age they are, but these are different. These are moral issues. We'll just talk about the maths. Yeah. So 24 kids, and they're planning a camp, and each tent holds 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
So 8 tents with 3 kids in each. However, there are backpacks, and one backpack does for 2 kids. Now the question is, what is this? They want to, and the teachers want to form them into cooking groups. I presume food, not meth, but you never know. And so the question is, what is the smallest group of kids that can be a cooking group if 2 children have to share a backpack, and each tent, all 3 of them have to be in the same cooking group?
You lost me at 8 tents.
Yep.
Impossible.
So my 9-year-old daughter did a diagram at one point and she went, oh, okay, so it's 1 tent of 3 and 1 tent of 3 and 1 from each tent. So 2 from each tent are sharing a backpack. So the smallest, so you've got 3 and they're all sharing 1, 2, 3 backpacks. So the smallest group that you can have is 6.
Right. She's smarter than me. Your 9-year-old is smarter than me. That is amazing. How long did that take?
She just told me that's not it. What?
No. I'm in charge here. So,
Okay.
Wow,
there are
Daisy.
3 kids in
Hi,
a tent,
Daisy.
and each kid is sharing a backpack with someone else. So
It was 6.
Yeah. No, but there are 3 kids, and then 3, they're all sharing a backpack with someone.
Yeah, that's right. So 3 in one tent and 3 in the other.
And they're
1
sharing
backpack, 2
backpacks.
backpacks, 3 backpacks. So they all have to,
I'm
all
wearing my sleeping bag.
as a cape.
That's a cape. Oh,
She's on camp already. I love that.
So, did you just come in here to tell me that I was right by telling me that I was wrong?
yes.
Okay. Off you go. This is my. I know you're in here
I might
now.
as well make the most of it.
Well, you might as well make the most of it. So go on. Out you go.
Daisy, will you cut your dad's hair at some point? Will she cut your hair, Alan?
Oh, yeah, she is going to. So, I think because I can't go to the hairdressers and I don't have beautiful hair like yours, I wish I had straight hair. Oh, so wish I had it. I'm going to get.
What's the difference, straight and curly hair? I mean, mine just is flat and sticks and hangs down.
Myth. Here's the difference. Look at your hair. Look at my hair.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the volume. I'm jealous of the height. I'm jealous of the things you can do. Can't do anything with this. It's just
I look like I've gone to Halloween as young Einstein. I think like the thing is, I'll probably get a mohawk, so she can shave the sides of it. But
you're going to let her have clippers. You'll let her have clippers.
Well, that's just one of the problems is we don't have any hairdressing scissors, so she's going to have to use the kitchen scissors.
Oh, this has got a disaster and tragedy written all over it. Lucky you're in lockdown, Alan.
Oh, exactly. Oh, no, I'm just going to look like a... Thank God I'm in a long-term relationship. I mean, because it's nice to have other people around, as you know. But, the way my hair's going to look, I mean, old with a really weird mohawk that I'll be able to say, oh, hi, ladies. Yeah, I let my daughter cut my hair.
As you're flashing past during a Zoom meeting in the nude.
True. As my sort of weird silverback gorilla back flies past in a pair of underpants.
I can't wait to see where this goes. After this week, next week, I mean, it can only go like another level, surely. Do you think we'll just get madder and madder?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I really...
I feel like it's a good thing. I feel like we're all going to be in touch with just a completely bonkers side of ourselves that we haven't been able to embrace.
Yeah, one of the interesting things is people are saying hello to each other a lot in the street, which is really nice.
I love that. I feel like we're going to come out of this feeling a lot better about the people around us and much more community minded. I didn't, like I think I said last time, I didn't even really know my neighbours until this, and now it's just lovely. We all say hello, we're all having chats, and there's parties in the street. Well, it's isolated social distancing parties. And I just think it's brilliant. I really do. There's something lovely coming out of this. So I'm not sure what the ongoing effect of that will be, but it feels good. It feels good to me that we're realising the importance of our space and the people, and the importance of the people that we share it with.
I think so, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to really struggle just because of in my very limited understanding of the economic downturn that's going to occur, but because of the greater community bonds, there might be more help for people there. But I do like the whole isolated street party thing, because it's like living in the country, like because houses were further away, someone just going, "Are you home?"
Yep.
And someone going, "Yeah, I'll come over in a minute then." Just yelling at each other paddocks.
And they needed mobile phones to track where they were and whether or not they're taking their viruses around the place. They just had their voices. Everyone just yelled at each other back in the day. I remember I had a friend of mine who comes from a family, I think, of 7 kids, and they had a dog called Michael. And so for years, the mum would be out the back just going, dinner, Michael, dinner. I reckon for about 10 years, the family next door thought that there was 8 kids and one of them was called Michael. And when they found out there was no Michael, it was devastating. Oh, what happened to Michael? It's Michael.
Oh, no. Now, they probably thought...
An animal a human name.
They probably thought Michael had been, something had happened to Michael and no one ever talked about it. Now, I must tell you a story speaking of that. So, went back to New Zealand a couple of years ago to visit my relatives, and my mum died quite a while ago, but she was a nurse and she did her training on the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand. And a number of her friends are still alive, and one of them's called Jean, and Jean's just brilliant. And when I was talking to my relatives, Jean's husband he'd basically, when he'd retired, he'd just taken over the house with bits of machinery. Like he'd built like one of those sunroom conservatory things where you're meant to sit on expensive cane chairs that look really cheap, and sip tea and not talk to each other. Because been married for 75 years. That was just covered in bits of machinery. And she said to me, I went over and she said, well, when he dies, I'm just going to put it all in a pile on the front yard and I'm just going to set fire to it. And I said, Jean, you probably can't do that. It's probably illegal. She said, oh, I don't care. And so he died, and she did it. But that isn't the best bit. She said, I said, did the fire brigade come? Oh, yeah, and the police, they threatened to arrest me. But the best bit is my relatives were convinced that she had killed her husband.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So she's
No.
Yeah. So Everly was a bloody menace. Not abusive or anything like that, just a menace. Mm. And he'd filled the house with, he was evidently a very nice guy, but he just filled the house with just all this crap, and she was just sick of him. So it's like Jean had broken and they thought, that's it, she's had enough. She's just turned. It's over. So I arranged to go and see Jean just to catch up. And she lives by herself in like one of those independent living villages. Where basically the you're always in danger of being run over by a mobility scooter. And so...
You know it's a hotbed for hooking up in those places too.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Hooking up?
Everyone's newly single, Alan, sadly, but, people have got to entertain themselves.
Now, quickly off the topic, actually, now you say that, once I was doing radio and it was the same thing that you used to do. It was done from one place, but it went out to all the regional, like all the stations in Australia on the ABC. And there was an article in one of the papers about nudism and about all these different people who were nudists. And, they were nudists out at nudist beaches or just around the place. So I thought, look, why not? We'll do Talkback, because I love Talkback. And I said, call me up and tell me what you do in the nude. One guy called up and he said to me, mate, when it's hot, I just stand in front of the open freezer in the nude. The kids bloody hate it. And I said, oh, what, during the day? He said, yeah, well, that's when it's the hottest, mate. Night, it's fine. Then...
Night, it's fine.
Night, it's fine. This woman rings up and she said, oh, hello, Alan. And I said, how are you? And she said, good. And she said, I'm 86, which is what really old people immediately tell you. You would know that. Like, they love to tell you how old they are. And I said, what do you do in the nude? And she said, call you, Alan.
No.
She lived in an independent living village, and she said, I've got this lovely area with a skylight, and I sit out here, Alan, and I have, this is like midday, she said, I have a drink in the nude. And I thought, I was listening to the radio, and I thought, I'm in the nude. I'll call Alan and tell him I'm in the nude.
Love it. She is how I want to be when I'm 86. That's out in the back airing it out, having a drink at midday,
Yeah.
catching the sun. That's how
Yeah.
we want to be.
Well, imagine what state she was in by 4 o'clock. She was probably out and about.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Utilising the facilities. Back to Jen.
So, Jean, right? I'm going to visit Jean, and my cousins say to me now, Alan, we need you to look for any evidence that Jean killed her husband. And I said, what do you think? There's going to be like a bloodied knife lying around the place, or she's going to show me her collection of antique shotguns. And they said, just keep your eyes out. So I go in, and she lives on her own, and it's a typical setup where it's a really lovely, well-ordered house. Everything she needs is close by. She's got her Jason recliner, and then there's one chair across from her where the visitor sits. So she lets me in, and she sits down, and I sit down, and we're talking. And the whole wall behind her, very similar to mine, is bookshelves.
Yeah.
And I look, and every single book is a really intense, grisly Scandinavian murder crime book.
She killed him, surely.
Yeah, she totally. And like every single one of them is one of those ones where they find like 25 people hacked to death against pine trees with pentangles in their guts.
Oh, no.
And so
Did you have a Norwegian black metal music collection as well?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. So I literally ran home to the cousins and I said, she did it. And they went, what? And I told them and they just went, we knew it. And so, I mean, I can't prove it, obviously, but if she did it in a really horrible way. Oh, the poor guy.
And then made a funeral pyre at the end with all his stuff. Jean.
Jean.
Wow. Look, isolation and being trapped with someone for that long can do that to you. I'm not saying it's okay by any stretch of the imagination. But
well, if Jean's watching this, I hope she's drinking in the nude.
I do too. I want to live like that woman. That's how we want to be. Let's hope we can all be like that when we hit.
If my greatest wish is to become an old nude lady.
Oh, we're halfway there.
Hey, we're on the television on Sunday.
Oh, yes, we are too.
Yeah.
Although, we'll go out, this week will go out unless it's today. There was one so we were on the television on Sunday.
We were on the television last Sunday.
We were on the television last Sunday. And wasn't it weird, Alan? We were all like sitting close to each other. We were touching. We were laughing, probably spitting in each other's faces while we were laughing without knowing. Like watching it now as a germaphobe, now that this whole thing has taken hold of us, I was just in shock. I was like, you can't do that.
I hadn't even thought of that. How highly irresponsible of us.
I know. We didn't even know how innocent we were and what it will be like in the future if we do anything. Like, will we be able to touch, do you think? Will we be able to hug?
I presume we'll be able to touch. All robots will touch on our behalf.
Oh my God. It really is like, what is it, 1981, 84? It really is 1984.
I hope it's not like 1981. I think the Jay Giles band were very big then, and that's horrifying.
Oh, my angel is a centerfold. That was a horrible song, wasn't it?
And you know, the worst thing about that is I did like your hillbilly rendition of that. The worst thing is now a whole lot of people have gone, haven't heard that song for ages. And there's going to be kids all around the place who are going to be going, Mum, Dad, what is this song? Why are you playing it?
Oh, never again.
Yeah. Well, look, keep yourself nice, babe.
I will. You too. Put some clothes on. Keep clothes on, I guess, is the safest way to go about running around the house. I do worry about my neighbours. I've pretty much given up worrying about any kind of window coverage around here, so they've probably seen more than they need to see too, now that I'm here all the time. But what can you do? You
Well,
know, we're
also
all
the
getting-
unfortunate problem is because this poncho is for a 9-year-old, it's quite short.
Wouldn't even cover your.
No, hardly does.
Oh my God! Imagine if you got caught just wearing a poncho and nothing, that not even covered your boobs, and nothing underneath. That could actually be, maybe for next week we can just do a special walkthrough.
And the problem is, look, it's got enormous holes in it. So
Yeah. Easy access, Alan.
Myth, the days of easy access are long gone.
I know, isn't it sad? Well, we can only hope for the aged care facility where it's a hotbed of hooking up to look forward to. I can't wait.
Look, I'm gonna keep my poncho so I can make it with 86-year-old nudists who are on the piss from midday.
On that note, that sounds ideal. I'll see you next week.
See you, babe.
Bye. Love you.
Love you too.